Hello, this is Fear Dragon, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players. Here on this show, we spend 1 week highlighting an up-and-coming North American player. Throughout the week, we find out more about the player's history, their personality, and their playstyle over the course of 6 short episodes. On Monday, we'll interview the player and find out more about them. Tuesday through Thursday, we'll watch a game from each of the various matchups casted by your very own Fear Dragon. On Friday, we'll check out a generally awesome game with some sick play, and on Saturday, we'll kick it back with the player and have some wacky fun with some randomly selected events like handicap ladder matches, karaoke, and dance contests. Each episode aims to be about 20 to 30 minutes long, so you can learn more about the North American StarCraft 2 scene without interrupting your busy WCS schedule. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players, and today I'm joined here with Master Dalk. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and we got an exciting game here.
Yeah, it is going to be a great PvZ, but let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players before we actually get into that. As we spawn down here in the bottom left-hand corner on top of the blue Protoss player is going to be the highlight player of the week. It is going to be Team Fnatic's Hellokitty.
Alright, and over on the bottom right of Whirlwind LE, we have our Red Zerg, who has chosen to go upon this game with a barcode to cover his identity. But of course, I am a wizard, and I know his true identity, and his name is actually Bob, the Zerg player.
That's a common name for Zerg players, man.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I never really got into the whole fad of barcodes, but hey, I mean, can't really complain too much. We have double barcode players. Hopefully we remember which race Hellokitty actually plays. He does play the Protoss play. That'd be terrible if just suddenly, like 20 minutes into the game, we started calling the Zerg player Hellokitty.
Oh no, I will have called the Zerg player Bob enough that I will remember that he is Bob.
Alright, but I mean, PvZ, we're already seeing a little bit of the openings, and actually just starting it off, we see one of the big choices that a lot of Protoss players make this early on in the game, and that's whether they go for that Forge Fast expansion versus Gateway expansion. And, you know, Hellokitty kind of said in the interview he's not really akin to either one, but how exactly does it really affect the matchup?
Well, it's really, if you go Gateway Expand, you tend to be able to do a lot more pressure in the early game, and then it allows you to get a bit of a lead. Whereas if you just go Forge Fast Expand, you're kind of stuck on 2 bases for a little while until you actually have an army, and then you can move out and get a 3rd base. And especially on Whirlwind, where the 3rd bases are kind of far apart, doing Forge Fast Expand is already a bad choice because of the far thirds, and plus also because of the giant ramp at your natural.
Yeah, and I've actually noticed when you're just talking about those kind of aggressive builds that you can do, generally going for the Gateway Expand kind of speeds them up by about 2 minutes, approximately, give or take, is what I've noticed. So we'll have to wait and see. And how exactly do Zerg players generally have to react to that?
Well, a lot of them, they tend to be able to get, say, a Roach Warren, and then get enough roaches that they can kind of hold off a bunch of zealots. We've been seeing that Zerg players, albeit the earlier gateway for Protoss players, they still do try to get that 3rd hatch very quickly, because then it does allow them to have that extra larvae that when the attack comes, they can just make a bunch of roaches and try to hold it off.
Yeah, I think that's been a pretty strong play, but look at this. We actually have a pretty early 3rd going down right now for our barcode player, Bob. And it's kind of interesting because he has actually been super unlucky with the scouting. He's only just now seeing, like, oh, okay, that's where you are. He sees the Cybernetics core, and I think based on that, he should be able to assume, hey, my opponent's gone for a Gateway expansion rather than a Forge expansion.
Yeah, most likely he'll be able to. And now, we know who this Protoss player is, but this Zerg does not. And that will actually be a bit of a problem, because he thinks, okay, you know what, you're going for Gateway Expand, it may not actually be that bad. He's just going to be getting his 3rd base, he's going to be like, oh, I'll be safe. But little does he know, he's playing the one and only Hellokitty. And Hellokitty, he does not like playing safe at all. He enjoys putting on that aggression in the early game.
Yeah, Hellokitty definitely has a bit of a reputation of being, a bit more of an aggressive player and sometimes a little bit of a cheeser. But, one other thing that we did hear in that interview was the fact that he likes to open with that Stargate play because he hates Mutalisk with a deep passion like every other Protoss player I have ever met in my entire life. Except for some Zerg players who actually switch to Protoss. It takes them a couple months to hate Mutalisk as well. But, regardless, Phoenix is going to be popping out, and the Zerglings came in, but I'm not sure if they actually clicked on the Stargate and know that the Phoenix, or the Stargate, was the tech path.
We'll have to find out. The first Phoenix is out right now. It's going to be looking around for some Overlords to try and snipe off more Phoenix on the way behind this. And right now there is actually a hallucinated Phoenix in the Zerg bases, and
That's
it
some mind
is going to be
games.
going around. Yeah, not going to be working too much in Hellokitty's favor, however, as it has forced down some Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, I think that this kind of just goes to show that our Zerg player Bob did kind of figure out that the Stargate was the tech path, and even though Hellokitty's kind of pulling up these Phoenixes, it looks like his little fake out is not going to work. Sending a hallucinating Phoenix while making real Phoenix is cute, but Spore Crawlers are going to be down, and actually even having a Spine Crawler dropped over the 3rd expansion, so it looks like our Barcode player Bob feeling pretty safe about everything right now.
Yep, he's going to be getting up a Roach Horn right now. Also going to be getting Pneumatized Carapace and Metabolt boost now. So the Pneumatized Carapace is going to be helping a lot here, because then if he sees a Phoenix coming, he can try and pull that Overlord back as soon as possible.
Yeah, but hold that thought. We actually have, while the Phoenix are kind of just moving in and doing a little bit of harassment with the Mothership Core, we have a proxy pylon being set up, and, I mean, it's a pretty early push, but it's literally on 3 gateways and then a handful of Phoenix. And he's only warping in Zealots right now. He doesn't even have a Forge out. Like, what on earth is this push, man?
Yeah. Right now, though, actually, the Queen in the main base for Bob is actually trapped behind a Spore Crawler, and that's bad because he's going to be missing so many injects because of this.
Oh my god.
The attack for Hellokitty is going to be coming in here towards the natural. There's only a couple of roaches here and a queen to help defend against this.
Yeah, 4 roaches out right now, and a Force Field does go down over on the main ramp. We'll have to see where the roaches actually do end up popping out. The drones are actually not taking too much damage right now because those Zealots are forced to try and deal with that queen, and some nice walling in. But the Phoenixes are going to be able to lift up some of those roaches. Doesn't look like there's any more energy left on that sentry, so the Force Field will not be able to continue, and I mean, would you say that this has been worth it so far? It's basically been cleaned up, minus these Phoenixes.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. As you said, there's only 3 gateways that Hellokitty is doing this off of, so it's going to be kind of hard to continuously reinforce. You will be able to kill off a couple drones with some good micro there, but now with Hydralisks out, I don't really think you'll be able to do too much more damage with the Phoenix.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting to see, how this actually ends up playing out, because we actually have Void Rays in response from Hellokitty right now, and that's going to be super interesting, because with Void Rays, if he maintains that air dominance, and as long as he can pick off the Hydralisks quickly enough with, low numbers of Phoenix versus low number of Hydralisks, this could work out, but I don't know.
The Void Rays, they can work well once you get to at least 5 or more. And then plus also he does have the robotics facility. He's going to be getting a robotic support bay, and that will allow him to get Colossi. And Void Rays and Colossi pretty much kill everything on the ground. So once Hellokitty starts getting up some Colossi, he's already has an Immortal, he has a couple sentries, plus increasing his Void Ray count, he'll be able to very easily deal with the Roach Hydra army.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. And I love how active actually Hellokitty's been with these Phoenixes. He just kind of comes in, picks off those drones off of gas, and you can actually see at the natural expansion, there are only 6 drones even really mining the minerals, because he just keeps coming in and picking them off. But hold that thought, the Hydrals are actually coming in right underneath these Phoenix. They're actually not paying attention. He's going to end up losing 1 Phoenix, and manages to keep the rest alive, amazingly enough, although they are dancing with death, and one of them actually does engage in the tango with death and fully embraces it.
Yep. Right now, Hellokitty, he's just trying to buy time, though, really. Those Phoenixes, they've done their job. as they've also scouted the Roach Hydra army. They've also delayed this Roach Hydra army, and it will give him enough time to get a Colossus. It allowed him to get a couple of Immortals, it allowed him to get a couple of Void Rays, and he also has a ton of sentries to help divide this army as he's done right now.
Dividing the army he does, and he conquers it as well as the Colossus, definitely adding a lot of DPS to that, but honestly, even just the Immortals and the Force Fields were absolutely amazing. And even God, he just has such a high DPS army. I mean, you have Zealots with upgrades, you have Void Rays, you have Colossus, you have Immortals.
Yeah. And the Roaches, once they start decreasing in number, then even like the Zealots will be enough to deal with them. The Colossi just needs to make sure to hit the Hydralisks, not the Roaches. And then the Sentries keep the Roaches away, also keep the Hydras away. And Void Rays turn on Prismatic Alignment, start killing everything. That's pretty much how most of the engagements Hellokitty wants to go.
Yeah, but right now Hellokitty is just a little bit out of position to defend this third expansion. The Roaches and the Hydras are going to be coming in right now. Time Warp does go down, as well as Photon Overcharge, so that might actually be able to help him pick off some of these units. And nice wow, that is a juicy set of Force Fields, man.
Ooh. Almost lost a Colossus there. Has taken about half damage there. Needs to try and keep this army away enough that this Colossus can get all its shields back, because if not, he's going to be in a ton of trouble. He also needs to make sure that he keeps that Colossus a bit farther back. And right now, continuing Void Ray production, continuing Colossi production, going to be getting his upgrades up. He's doing everything right now. But Bob is getting a Spire now.
Yeah, and with that Spire, he's either going to be able to produce Corruptors or maybe even Mutals. Which one would you like to see? Personally, I would say, I mean, there's only 2 Phoenix left, so I would actually be okay with either.
That's true, but I feel like Hellokitty, if he can try and sense this coming, or like see it, which I think he has. Yes, he's seen the Spire. What he needs to do is he needs to try throwing down a couple of cannons at every base, because he does not have Templar right now. He only has a Mothership Core and only has 3 Phoenix alive. He can try pumping out a bunch of more Phoenix, but that's not going to work too well. So I feel like cannons would be the easiest way to deal with these Mutalisks. Or he just goes right now and wins, because he can do that.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought, but I am a little bit worried right now for Hellokitty. I mean, he has some Stalkers, he has, as you said, some things, but look at how many Mutals are actually out on the map right now. They're going to be running all the way over to the main base. They're going to be able to do a complete probe massacre as this main expansion just gets completely wrecked right now. 2 Phoenixes come in, 3 Phoenixes, sorry, and one of them just gets killed off by running through, and the remainder of them fall immediately afterwards. I don't know what Hellokitty does from the situation.
Well, Hellokitty is going to be doing the one thing that I would suggest doing, because in this situation, okay, I don't have Storm, I don't have enough Phoenix to deal with those Mutalisks, and nor do I have any defense cannons. What I need to do is I need to go base trade, because that is literally my only chance of winning at this point, since there is way too many Mutalisks for me to deal with. So Hellokitty is going to be taking his army, he's going to be going to his opponent's base, and he's going to try to kill everything before the Mutalisks kill him.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, he is trying to use some of these Phoenix just to harass these Mutals down. It's kind of hard to micro, especially without that extra Fleet Beacon upgrade. On those Phoenixes, you end up seeing he loses quite a few of them. But at the same time, I mean, as you said, he's picking off base after base. The question is, does he even have a probe out on the map to actually start making additional buildings or whatever?
No, they are all in his main, and he should probably try getting them out of there somehow. But it feels like it might just be a little bit too late for that. Really, he has...
He's actually lost all of his probes and his Nexus.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's gonna
God.
be going back. He can't recall either, that's the problem.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, he cannot recall because he doesn't have a Nexus. Oh, God, that could actually be a terrible situation right now. This is actually a base trade elimination match, except the Zerg player has hatcheries everywhere, and Hellokitty only has these remaining things over here. There is a Warp Prism, but that's not going to do too much good. Oh, God, I don't know if Hellokitty can do this anymore.
What he needs to do is, well, when he still had the Void Rays...
Oh.
Actually, never mind, he lost.
Yeah, and oh man, it was a cool game, and we saw a kind of cool push out immediately during the early phase of the game, on those two bases, but toward the end of it, I think he just kind of got caught a little bit off guard, as he kind of said in his interview, with those big tech switches. The tech switch from Roach Hydra into Mutals completely caught him off guard, and I feel like that was a lot of the reason why he ended up losing that game.
Yeah, he just didn't have any defense cannons. And when the Mulus did come, by the time he was actually across the map, he had enough stalkers. What he could have done is possibly try pulling all the stalkers back, because he had enough of a buffer left over for his 4 Colossi, and then try and deal with both forces, but I don't know how that would have worked, as that would have possibly created a completely different game.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, man, but I do have to give props to Hellokitty. It takes a lot of guts to actually send in a replay that, you actually end up losing in, and that does actually set up the stage for the rest of the week, so now we're not sure. Is he actually going to win or is he going to lose? It's going to be fun to find out. But thank you so much for coming on, Master Dalk. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And where can people catch you at?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at MasterDalk, which is MasterDalk. I tend to do things all over on different channels, so I will usually tweet whenever I'm going to be doing something. Also, just a quick shout out for High School Star League, because if you are in high school and you like playing StarCraft, you should sign up, because you'll become a nerd boss.
Dude, High School Star League is absolutely amazing. It's a great setup also for the Collegiate Star League, which I've had the honor of being able to participate in. High School Star Leagues unfortunately started a little bit after my time. But yeah, guys, definitely go check it out. And of course, be sure to check out Team Fnatic and Hellokitty. Team Fnatic, an absolutely great team, and they saw a lot of potential in Hellokitty. So, hopefully throughout the week, we'll get to see a little bit more of Hellokitty and maybe some of the games that he does a little bit better in. I think that he did pretty well in this game. He showed some kind of cool stuff, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how those remaining games end up going. But thank you so much again, Master Doll, for coming on. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Breaking Out, please go ahead and consider following me over here on twitch.tv/FearDragon64, or if you're watching the VOD over on youtube.com/FearDragon64. We're going to have another episode tomorrow at 9 p.m. Pacific, and that's midnight Eastern time. Sorry, guys, about the time zone for if you're East Coast. It's a little bit unfortunate, but that's just the nature of things when you're trying to avoid WCS and the Day 9 Daily. But yeah, hope to see you guys all tomorrow for PvT nights, and I'll see you all there. Have a wonderful night, guys.
See ya.